My name's Ryan. 35. Father to a 4-year-old girl named Lily. Husband, at least, I used to be, to Natalie. For most of my adult life, I thought I understood loyalty, love, and the quiet rhythm of building a family. But I didn't understand anything. Not until we brought her into the house. She wasn't a stranger. Not really. But the moment she walked through our front door with a shy smile and a calm voice, everything I thought was solid in my life began to crack. And I didn't see it, not at first. Natalie worked in corporate real estate. Big clients. Long hours. She was the type of woman who always had 3 phones in her bag and color-coded calendars that she actually followed. I loved that about her, her precision, her fire, her control. We were opposites. She drove, I followed. And that worked for a long time. After Lily was born, things got more complicated. We managed as best we could, trading off shifts, relying on her mom or my brother when things got hectic. But by the time Lily turned 4, Natalie came home one evening and said, "We need help. A nanny. Full-time." It caught me off guard. We'd always said no. That we'd raise Lily ourselves, no matter how hard it got. But Natalie was already one step ahead, she always was. "I've already interviewed someone," she added. "You just need to meet her." The next day, she showed up. Her name was Mia. Mid-20s. Blonde. Soft-spoken. She wore jeans and a cardigan like she was trying not to be seen. Lily took to her instantly. I watched through the sliding glass door as they played with sidewalk chalk on the patio, drawing crooked suns and wobbly stick people. Natalie leaned over to me and whispered, "She's perfect, right?" And maybe she was. At least, that's what I thought. Mia started the following Monday. From the beginning, something about her felt familiar. I couldn't place it. Not a face I recognized, but maybe the way she moved. Confident, but careful. Always polite. Never overstepping. She learned Lily's routines faster than I ever had. Breakfast. Done. Snacks. Packed. Diaper bag. Always ready. She even knew how to fix Lily's favorite headband when it tore, something I never managed without YouTube. She blended into our home like she'd always been part of it. But that's when I started noticing the little things. Like how she never asked where anything was, she just knew. Or how she'd hummed the song Natalie used to sing to Lily before bed, note for note. Or how she'd sometimes glance at me, then quickly away, like she'd been caught. I told myself I was overthinking. That I was tired. That Natalie had finally done something to help me and I should just accept it. Then Natalie told me she had to go out of town. 3 nights. Miami. New client. She kissed me goodbye with a smile I hadn't seen in months. It didn't feel like absence. It felt like permission. That night, Mia stayed late. Said she didn't want to leave Lily while she was asleep. Said I looked exhausted. She made chamomile tea. Sat across from me on the couch. We didn't talk much. But every time I looked up from my cup, she was already watching me. The next morning, she was in the kitchen making pancakes. Lily was laughing in the other room. I stepped in to thank her. She smiled and said, "It's nice, being here. Like I belong." I laughed awkwardly. "You do a great job. Lily loves you." She stepped a little closer. "And you?" I froze. "Do you trust me?" Yeah, I mean, of course." She smiled, but there was something behind it. Something not so innocent. Later that day, I noticed her phone charging on the kitchen counter. Unlocked. Curiosity got the better of me. I didn't snoop. I swear I didn't. But a notification popped up on the screen. Missed call, Nat green circle. My heart stopped. Nat. Not Natalie. Not Mrs. Shaw. Just Nat. And the worst part? It wasn't a missed call. It was a video call that I stared at the screen like it might vanish if I blinked. Missed call, Nat green circle. It sat there, glowing innocently on Mia's phone. A casual name. A casual icon. But nothing about it felt casual. Who puts their boss in their phone as Nat? Who video calls their nanny at 10:43 p.m.? And more importantly, why didn't she tell me? Mia came into the room a second later. I stepped away from the counter like it burned. "Tea's still warm," she said. "Yeah. Just checking my email." She smiled. She always smiled. But now it felt like a mask, and I started wondering if it ever came off. That night, I couldn't sleep. Natalie hadn't texted. No good night, no check-in, no blurry hotel photo. I scrolled through our old messages, trying to find the last time she'd said, "I love you." It had been weeks. Maybe months. I told myself not to spiral. Told myself I was just tired. That work and Lily and life had blurred everything. But even in the dark, something about Mia's presence in the house felt heavier than it had any right to. The next day was Saturday. Mia offered to take Lily to the park so I could have a quiet morning. It sounded thoughtful, too thoughtful. But I agreed. As soon as they left, I started looking. Not snooping. Just noticing. Her room, formerly our guest room, was too neat. No mess, no clutter. But her drawers were full. Organized. Like she'd been there longer than 2 weeks. There was a book on her nightstand. Radical Intimacy. A dog-eared page marked a chapter called The Privilege of Access. Under her pillow, I almost didn't check, was a photo. Not printed from a phone. An actual, developed photograph. It was of Mia. And Natalie. Smiling. Standing close. Not like employer and employee. More like friends. Or something else. No timestamp. No explanation. I set it back and walked out of the room like I was trespassing in my own home. My hands were shaking. The photo meant one thing, maybe a few things, but all of them were bad. Why hadn't Natalie told me they knew each other? Why lie? The doorbell rang. I jumped. It was Mia and Lily. Mia holding a smoothie, Lily holding a flower. "This one's for you," Mia said, handing me the drink. I stared at it. Green. Fresh. Sweet-smelling. Poisonous. Not literally. Probably. But I still set it on the counter untouched. That evening, while Lily watched a cartoon, I asked Mia the question. "Hey, random. But how did you find us? Like, the job posting?" She tilted her head. "Natalie reached out. Said you needed help." I nodded slowly. "Right. But, like, how did she find you?" She smiled. "We knew each other in college." She remembered I was good with kids. Said it was fate. Fate. It didn't feel like fate. It felt like a setup. Later that night, I messaged Natalie. Just one line. "How do you really know Mia?" She didn't respond. Not right away. The typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, came back. Then the message. "She's good with Lily. That's all that matters." That wasn't an answer. I waited 15 minutes. Typed, "Was she your friend?" Deleted it. Typed, "Was she more than that?" Deleted again. Eventually I just threw my phone across the bed and stared at the ceiling until my chest stopped buzzing. I couldn't ignore the feeling anymore. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I looked through Natalie's old laptop, the one she used before work gave her the corporate one. She never deleted anything. I opened photos. Typed, Mia. Dozens of pictures popped up. Not recent. Old. Bar photos. Birthday parties. A trip to New Orleans. Mia was in almost all of them. Not as a side character. As the focus. In one, she and Natalie were sitting on a balcony, legs tangled, wine glasses in hand, laughing into each other's shoulders. I clicked the info icon. 2018. That was before Natalie and I even got engaged. And suddenly, everything snapped into place. She wasn't a stranger. She wasn't a nanny. She was part of Natalie's life. Long before she was ever part of mine. The photos burned in my head for the rest of the night. Natalie and Mia, back when I didn't even know either of them existed. The looks, the body language, the way Natalie leaned in close like she trusted her with something she didn't trust the world with. And now, she trusted her with Lily. Or was it something else entirely? I stared at the ceiling, eyes wide open in the dark, while Mia slept a few doors away and my wife was 1,300 miles away, refusing to answer my questions. This wasn't about help anymore. It was a test. Or worse, a trap. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of laughter in the kitchen. Lily's high-pitched giggles and Mia's softer chuckles blended like a song I didn't write. I stood in the hallway and just listened. "Daddy's still sleeping," Mia whispered playfully. "We won't wake him yet." She wasn't my enemy. Not obviously. But she was too perfect, too polished, too inside the walls of my house for someone who'd supposedly just walked in 2 weeks ago. I walked in. Mia turned and smiled, like nothing was wrong. Like nothing had changed. "We're making pancakes. Lily says you like chocolate chips." "Do I?" I asked flatly. She tilted her head. "That's what your wife told me." That name, your wife, sounded rehearsed. Like she was trying too hard not to say Natalie. After breakfast, I offered to take Lily to the playground. Alone. Mia looked surprised, but didn't argue. She handed Lily her water bottle and said, "Have fun, you too." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. At the park, Lily climbed a jungle gym while I sat on the bench scrolling through my contacts. I called Natalie again. Straight to voicemail. I texted. "We need to talk. Not about Mia. About you." No answer. 10 minutes later, a message popped up, from a number I didn't recognize. "Stop looking. You'll ruin things you can't fix." I froze. No name. No context. Just threat dressed as advice. I replied. "Who is this?" No response. I checked the number. It was a burner. I stared at it, stomach turning, pulse drumming in my throat. When we got home, Mia was in the backyard, watering plants. She looked up and waved. But I noticed something she didn't expect me to see. A phone in her hand. Not the iPhone I'd seen before. This one was black. Chunky. Older. Burner. Just like the one that texted me. I didn't say a word. But the next night, I looked through the trash. It wasn't there. Of course it wasn't. She was too careful. I decided to dig deeper. I remembered an old trick my buddy Eric showed me. He worked in cybersecurity. If someone's using your Wi-Fi and you know the router IP, you can see all connected devices. I logged in from my phone that night. 2 iPhones, a smart TV, a laptop, mine. And one unidentified device listed as unknown Android. I changed the router password immediately. 10 minutes later, Mia knocked on the bedroom door. "Hey. Wi-Fi's acting weird. Mind if I reset the router?" My blood chilled. She didn't even ask for the password. She just knew it had changed. The next morning, I pretended like nothing had happened. Played normal. Even thanked her for helping out so much. But now I was watching. And what I saw shook me. She didn't just take care of Lily. She watched me. Every move. Every time I grabbed my keys, checked my watch, looked at the window, her eyes followed. At one point, I walked out the front door and counted to 30. Then I peeked through the side window. She was at my laptop. Just for a second. But it was enough. That night, Natalie finally called. Her voice was cold. "You're spiraling. And you're lying. Mia isn't who you think she is." "Then who is she?" Silence. "Then. She's someone who knows what you're capable of." I felt like I'd been slapped. "What the hell does that mean?" "You talk in your sleep, Ryan. Do you know that?" "What does that have to do with anything?" "More than you realize." She hung up. The next day, Mia said she was taking Lily to the library. I said I had errands. Instead, I followed them. Parked across the street. Watched through tinted windows. They never went to the library. They stopped at a coffee shop. Mia pulled out her phone, not the iPhone, the other one. A man walked in. Late 30s. Shaved head. Tense posture. He sat down across from her. She handed him the phone. He scrolled. Nodded. Then handed it back. They didn't smile. Didn't touch. Didn't say a word I could see. 10 minutes later, they left through separate doors. I waited until Mia got back home. When she walked through the door, I was waiting in the kitchen. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Great," I said. "Lily have fun?" She loved it. Story time was adorable. Funny. Because I was at the library. And you weren't. Her eyes didn't widen. She didn't flinch. She just smiled. Guess you needed to see for yourself. Who was the man? A friend. You have a lot of those. So does Natalie. I stepped forward. What the hell is going on, Mia? She looked at me, really looked at me, and said. Do you think Natalie told me to take care of Lily? What? She told me to take care of you. She said it so calmly, like she'd rehearsed it 100 times. Natalie didn't tell me to take care of Lily. She told me to take care of you. The silence that followed was thicker than any shouting match could have been. I just stood there, heart pounding, mouth dry, words refusing to form. What the hell does that mean? I asked. Mia just smiled. Not kindly. Not cruelly. Just, knowingly. It means I've been here before. You just didn't notice. That night, I barely slept. Not because I was scared. Because I was spiraling. My memories, my confidence, everything started to feel like wet paper, like if I touched it too hard, it would fall apart. What did she mean before? We only hired her 2 weeks ago. I would have remembered her. Right? The next day, she acted like nothing had changed. She made Lily's lunch. Folded towels. Hummed softly to herself like she always did. Except now every little thing she did felt scripted. Designed. Performed for someone. For me. For Natalie. Or for someone else. I decided to test her. After lunch, I sat down next to her in the living room and said. Do you remember that restaurant Natalie and I had our first date at? She didn't even blink. The place on 8th. The one that burned down in 2019. You ordered steak, even though you said you weren't hungry. I stared. Natalie told you that? No, she said. You did. That made no sense. I'd never talked about that with anyone. Not even my friends. You must have read something. Ryan, she said gently, do you remember everything you say in your sleep? I couldn't respond. My jaw locked up. She stood and walked away, humming again. But not randomly. She was humming the exact song that had played in that restaurant the night of our first date. I know, because it got stuck in my head for weeks afterward. And now, it was back. In her voice. That evening, while she gave Lily a bath, I checked the vents. The hallway. The bedrooms. Every smoke detector. I found 2 tiny black dots in the ceiling corner of our bedroom. They weren't screws. They were lenses. I followed the wiring behind the molding and found a small black box hidden behind the dresser. It wasn't hers. It wasn't mine. And it sure as hell wasn't there last year when I repainted that wall. I ripped it out and shoved it into a drawer. An hour later, Mia walked into the room and said, "Something feels lighter in here. Don't you think?" I needed answers. Real answers. I called Eric, my old college buddy in cybersecurity. Told him it was about someone spying on my home. He didn't ask questions. He just gave me a tool, a diagnostic USB I could plug into my router and see all external connections. That night, while Mia read to Lily, I ran it. The results were terrifying. My home network had been accessed from 3 external IPs in the last 10 days. One from Miami. One from Boston. One untraceable, masked by layers of VPNs. I checked the timestamps. They lined up with the days Natalie had been away. I called her. Straight to voicemail. Again. So I texted her a photo of the black box I'd found. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. No caller ID. I answered. "You shouldn't have touched it," Natalie's voice said flatly. "Then maybe you should have told me. Would you have believed me?" "About what?" "That I'm some kind of threat." Silence. Then. "You don't remember New Orleans, do you?" I froze. "What are you talking about?" 2018, before we got engaged. You and I. That night at the bar. What about it? You disappeared for 4 hours. When I found you, you didn't remember a thing. You said someone drugged you. But you never reported it. Because I thought. Because you didn't want to remember. The line went dead. I sat there, heart racing, sweat on my palms, stomach turning. What was she saying? That I'd done something. To her. To Mia. Why was she bringing this up now? And why was Mia suddenly back in my life, now, when Natalie was distant, when my mind felt like it was unraveling, when even my own memories couldn't be trusted? I looked at the photo again. Natalie and Mia. Laughing. Close. Too close. Was I the husband? Or the project? Was Mia here to help? Or to study? Or to finish something that started 7 years ago? That night, I didn't sleep in the bedroom. I locked myself in the guest room and pushed the dresser in front of the door. Just in case. Because suddenly, I wasn't sure who the hell I was to either of them. I didn't sleep. Again. I sat on the floor of the guest room with a baseball bat across my lap and a million thoughts spinning like knives in my head. The words Natalie said kept looping. You don't remember New Orleans, do you? I did. Barely. A hazy hotel bar. A bottle of whiskey. Some laughter. Then, black. I always told myself I just got too drunk. But now it felt like someone else had written that night. And I'd been living inside their draft ever since. At 7 a.m., I stepped into the kitchen. Mia was already there. 2 cups of coffee. One for her. One waiting for me. Rough night, she asked. I didn't answer. You know, she added softly, most people don't get a second chance to face the truth. You should feel lucky. Why the hell am I being studied in my own home? She laughed. Not mean. Almost, sad. Because this was the only way you'd stop pretending. Pretending what? That none of it happened. I slammed my hand on the table. Enough riddles. Tell me the truth. Why are you here? She looked up at me slowly. Because you hurt her. I blinked. Natalie? No, she said. Me. She pulled out her phone, not the iPhone, the burner, and opened a file. It was a recording. Video. Me. In a dark hallway. Drunk. Slurring. Grabbing someone's wrist. Mia's. Don't act like you didn't want this, the me in the video said. Then, black. I stepped back. This is fake. It's not, she said. You just erased it. You're lying. Am I? Or did you rewrite your own memory to stay innocent? My legs gave out. I sat. Silence hung in the room like smoke. So why now? I finally asked. Why come back? Because you needed to know, she said. Natalie tried to tell you. You gaslit her into silence. I didn't. You did. And you think this was justice? No, she said. This was closure. Later that day, Natalie returned. Unannounced. No suitcase. No smile. Just walked through the door like she still lived here. And for a second, it felt like she did. She looked at me. Then at Mia. Did he see it? Mia nodded. Natalie exhaled. Good. She sat down at the table and slid me an envelope. Inside, documents. Legal ones. It's over, she said. We're done. Sign when you're ready. You orchestrated all this. I gave you time to come clean. I didn't remember. That's not the same as being innocent. She stood. Walked to the door. Before she left, she turned. You once told me I was the only thing in your life that ever made sense. You were, I said quietly. Then why did you break me? I had no answer. Mia left an hour later. No goodbye. No closure. Just gone. 2 weeks passed. I signed the papers. Sold the house. Moved into a one-bedroom apartment with beige walls and no memory of who I used to be. Sometimes I look at old photos and wonder who that man was. Other times. I wonder if he ever existed. One night, I got a letter. No name. Just a small note. She forgave you. I never will. It wasn't signed. But I knew the handwriting. And I didn't blame her. Not anymore. Because in the end, she wasn't a nanny. She was my reckoning. 2 weeks later, I got the last message. No name. Just a photo. Natalie and Mia. Together. In bed. Smiling. And under it, 5 words. We said you'd break first. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. And laughed. Because they were right. I did break. But now I knew the truth. They didn't hire a nanny. They built a mirror. And made me watch myself fall apart.